Hi, I'm Sherry with the CGH Health Foundation, and welcome back to my kitchen for another one of our What's Cooking CGH videos, where we give you some ideas for easy, healthy recipes. And I realize I say easy and healthy a lot, so I thought I would just tell you exactly what I mean by easy and healthy. I'm going to start with the healthy. So the recipes that I show you are always low in sodium, reduced sodium, and usually have little or no added sugar in them, and no unhealthy fats. And I also try to use whole, fresh, or the least unprocessed ingredients possible for most everything we do. When I'm talking about easy, so a few of the things that I think of for easy recipes is I don't like to do a lot of dishes, so I love these one pot meals where everything can go in the pot. Few ingredients, not a lot of complicated ingredients, simple ingredients that are easy to find, and you might already have them in your pantry or your freezer. I don't want to do a whole lot of prep work, a lot of measuring, so dump and go. Everything today is, one quart of chicken broth, one bag of vegetables, one can, so those make it great. The other thing about most of our recipes is that they're very easy on the wallet. And today's recipe, I think, checks all of those boxes. I'm going to be showing you a vegetable barley soup that all comes together in one pot and is a great replacement for the canned soups that you get in the supermarket, which are notorious for a lot of sodium, and the vegetables are usually mushy. So you're going to get a great fresh soup here, and making it entirely from scratch. And canned soups can be $2 or $3 or more a can for a single or two servings. We're going to be making twice as much soup for half the money here. So I'm going to start off with the onions in the soup. And this is really the only prep work you have to do is to chop an onion. And honestly, you can find chopped onions in the grocery store. So if you want to spend just a little bit more, you can buy the chopped onions and not even have to do that. I've got my pot over medium heat, and I'm going to start by putting a little bit of my vegetable broth from the quart into the pot, and I'm going to add the onions. And this is one small onion. It was about a half a cup total of chopped onions. And those go in the broth, and they're going to cook for maybe 4 or 5 minutes. Watch the onions. When they start to look a little more transparent or translucent, that's when you're ready to move on with the rest of the soup. So we will wait for the onions to cook. I'll be back in 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, so my onions have been softening in the vegetable broth for about 4 minutes, and they're starting to turn color, turn a little bit yellow, and they're more translucent. So I'm going to move on with the rest of the ingredients for now. And the first of those is going to be the spices. And I'm going to use my teaspoon, and we're going to put in 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. Now you could use fresh garlic if you wanted to, but again, we're sticking with pantry ingredients, and that garlic powder adds a lot of flavor there. And then, seems kind of weird, but I'm going to add a teaspoon of chili powder. Now this soup does not taste like chili. The chili powder just adds a little bit of heat and warmth in the back. So that's a teaspoon of chili powder. And again, with the not liking to do dishes, if you know that there are 3 teaspoons in a tablespoon, then you can use your teaspoon to measure out a tablespoon's worth of ingredients. So here's the primary flavoring for our soup, and that's Italian, just Italian seasoning. And it's going to be a whole tablespoon of that Italian seasoning that goes in. So 3 teaspoons. And I'm putting the spices right on top of the onions. And anytime you're cooking with dried spices, if you add them at this point and give them a little chance to kind of warm up and bloom along with what's already in the pot before you add anything else, I think it enhances the flavor of your finished product. And once you put them in there, everything really starts to smell good. Already did with the onions cooking. So at this point, I'm going to add the barley, and I have about a 1/3 cup of pearl barley, uncooked pearl barley. This soup is really a full meal. So with the beans that are in the soup and the barley, it gives you plenty of protein and filling, whole grain, fiber, etc. And just like with the spices, starting with the dried grain, whether it's rice or the barley, etc., just put it in there and let it warm up a little bit with the spices. And everything's looking good. I got the spices coating the onions and the barley. And at this point, I'm going to add the rest of my quart of chicken broth. And low sodium broth is what I'm using. So the rest of the quart goes in here. Like I said, this is kind of a dump and go kind of meal. You can't add everything at once because the barley's going to take a little longer to cook. But this way we get away with just using the one pot if we time it right. So I added the rest of that quart of vegetable broth in there. I'm going to turn it up to high and bring it to a boil. And once it's boiling, I'm going to turn it back down to medium, and we're going to let it simmer for 10 minutes. So we'll come back when we get to that point. So my barley has been simmering away in that vegetable and spice broth, which is going to make it taste awesome. And we're ready for the last step. So I have a 12-ounce bag of frozen mixed vegetables. And you can use pretty much any mixed vegetables. You probably want to find one that has some carrots and peas and corn in it. That's what most people like. I found this soup mix at my grocery store, and in addition to the carrots and peas, it has some okra. It's got a little bit of celery. It's got some lima beans. So a really good mix of vegetables there. And again, I'm just going to dump that out. I got that out when I got all the rest of the ingredients, so it's been sitting here on the counter. It's kind of partially thawed. And I'm going to put in a 14.5-ounce can of no salt diced tomatoes and 1 can of light red kidney beans, any kind of kidney beans. I just like to increase the fiber and the protein content by adding some extra beans to the mix. And I have drained those, so those are going in too. And there you have it. A few steps, but apart from kind of watching the onions as they soften, you can set your oven timer for the 10 minutes for the barley and go do something else, help kids with the homework or whatever. And this last step takes 10 minutes. And again, set your kitchen timer and go and do the other things that you need to do. In my case, that's let the dog in, let the dog out, let the dog in, let the dog out. But once you add the vegetables and the tomatoes and the extra beans, you're again going to bring it back up to that kind of low boil or simmer, and it cooks about 10 minutes more. And that's going to get those vegetables to just the right consistency where they're tender but still a little crisp. I'm not going to wait because I have some soup that I made earlier, and we'll get some of this out of the way a little bit carefully. So there is my vegetable barley soup. I added up the cost of all the ingredients, and I'm coming in with this 8 to 10 cups of soup at around $5. If you don't have barley in the pantry and you don't want to go out and buy barley, you could substitute rice would be a great, or some noodles would be another good addition. But let's give it a taste and see how it is. It's really good. Beats the stuff in the can any day. So I hope you try this recipe. Again, easy, healthy, and come back to our blog and our YouTube channel to see lots of other easy, healthy recipes. Thanks for watching.